Hello and welcome again to Safety Short Series. Now today is the 20th video that we are going to upload of the series on which is going on, and that is on safety short videos. And today's topic is about maintenance and effective use of PPEs, that is personal protective equipment. Now we all know that personal protective equipment is an important means of preventing workplace injuries or work injuries. Ideally, the best approach is to maintain a safe work environment and eliminate any potential hazards. PPEs should only be relied upon as a last line of defense in place where it is not practicable to control the hazards at source. Personal protective equipment or PPE means all equipments which is intended to be worn or held by people at work and which protects them against one or more risk to their health and safety, and any addition or accessory designed to meet that objective. All PPEs should be used as a last resort to reduce the risk, taking into consideration that the risk can not or will not be eliminated. The use of PPE generally implies working in a potentially hazardous work environment, and its use is a major means of injury prevention. Therefore, it is of prime importance to ensure that equipment chosen is both reliable and effective. It is being properly used and maintained, and the user has undergone adequate training for it. Now let's see what we have in this session further. As we all know, PPE comes last in the control of hazards hierarchy, but cannot be neglected. Moreover, when we are trying to elevate the standards of safety, PPE plays an important role in addressing the safety where hazards are unseen or cannot be qualified or quantified. Now, natural calamities, fire service, military operations, welfare, disaster management, all these encounter unpredictable and unforeseen situations of or emergencies where the only thing which probably works is the courage to face the situation and the preparedness to meet any eventually, and this is possible only through PPEs. Now, based on this, let us first categorize the PPEs. Depending upon the nature of hazard, PPE is broadly divided into two categories. So how we have divided it? We have divided it into parts like respiratory PPEs, those used for protection from harm due to inhalation of contaminated air, and non-respiratory, those used for protection against injuries from outside the body, that is for protecting head, eye, face, hand, arm, foot, leg, and all other body parts. Correct? Now, it has been observed that exposure to the hazardous chemical in any industrial workplace cannot be completely eliminated by means of various safe, technologies and engineering controls. The workers are therefore, bound to face some amount of harmful exposure during the course of their operations. So, what do they do? Now, we all know this, that it has to be kept in mind that there may be also be a plant breakdown sometime. Some repairs are to be done, some maintenance activities have to happen, and that may have to be carried out in a contaminated environment. On such occasion, the level of air contaminants may even exceed the permissible limit of exposure, and working condition may essentially demand for providing respiratory protection or devices to the workers. Now, such exposures are also possible in manual handling and transportation of chemicals. Now, respiratory protective equipment should be considered as a last resort or a standby protection, or uh, and it is never a substitute for an effective engineering control measure. Now, it is therefore essential that the last line of defense should be most reliable and must not provide false sense of security to the user, as it is well known fact that the toxic effect of chemical, depending on the nature and the degree of hazard potential as such, for different work situation, different type of respiratory protective devices are required to be used. Now let us quickly take an example like classification of hazards for respiratory protection. The various types of hazards to which the worker is exposed in the industry are the main points of consideration for selection of right type of respiratory equipment. Now these hazards may be classified into very briefly. The very first is oxygen deficit work environment. So there is a possibility that the area might be oxygen deficit. Now the second part of this comes to gas and vapor contamination. So there is a possibility that some gases will be more, or vapor contamination will be more in the area. So that is the second part. The third part is airborne particulate matters. So there is a possibility that from where you are going to work, so there some chemicals are airborne, and they are in form of particulate matter. So that kind of air contamination is there. And fourth, last but not the least, that is the fourth, that is mixture of gases or vapors and particulate matter. So what are the things that you must take care? So what care and effective use of respiratory can be taken? So respirator and breathing apparatus should be carefully maintained to retain their original efficiency. For this purpose, let's discuss a few points on that and required to be taken into account. So very first point that you must take into account is system for periodical inspection and maintenance are recorded. So you have to make sure that there is a system in place which periodically inspects and maintains these respiratory devices. It is like we earlier discussed, it should not give false sense of reliability. So it should always be there. The second aspect is inspection and maintenance and recording every time after use. So it is not that a system should be in place. It's about inspecting it, maintaining it, and recording every time you use it. So it is a must. So you must know that how much time you have used it. Correct? Cleaning and disinfecting as recommended by the manufacturer. So whenever you are using a respiratory system, you must make sure that it has a proper cleaning and disinfection record. At times when you in emergency, if you have to use, and if your breathing apparatus or the system used for respiratory protection, if it is contaminated, it will not protect you, but it will definitely harm you. Correct? So if possible, respirators may be issued to individuals. So this is one thing that you can do. If possible, you have to make sure that you issue respirator to individuals. So nobody else uses it. One person, one use. Okay. So now comes the next point is the filters of the dust respirators are required to be cleaned or replaced if pores are clogged. Now what happens is sometimes we don't actually get to know when it is choked, but if you analyze the usage, you will know that this respirator is choked. So what happens if the clogging is there? People are uncomfortable wearing it, and that is the reason why you have most non-compliances. The next part comes to user must be trained before they are asked to use respirators. Now, most common problem. When we talk of training, we are talking about people fitting the respirator in a proper way. We are trying to tell them that how to fix the respirator, how to wear the respirator, how to use the respirator. If you are having beard, you forget it that your respirator will not fit on your face. Okay? So you should be clean shaved properly. The respirator should fit on your face. All that should happen. And last but not the least, periodic drills for use of breathing apparatus must be arranged for respiratory protection. It's a must. Now let's discuss some care and effective use of non-respiratory personal protective equipment. Now personal protective equipment should always be carefully inspected repaired and maintained in its original condition. For this purpose, let's keep a few points in mind. First, proper maintenance of safety helmet is required to be done by regular checking the cracks, dents for broken, straps, sweat bands, and cradle of safety helmet should be washed with warm soapy water or with a suitable detergent. So if you're not maintaining your helmet properly, how can you expect that it will protect you? Sometimes the ribs are broken, the belts are broken, and they're using it. Don't do that. The second point is goggles. Now goggles must be frequently inspected while in service. See the damaged part, lens. Especially the lens part. If it is too much scratchy, replace it, and are replaced before they cause any discomfort or result into loss of its protection. Now, goggles must be kept in clean and secure. That they are, sterilized frequently or sanitized properly. Lenses should be wiped carefully with clean and soft cloth. Now, goggles should always be kept in a suitably clean case or box to prevent scratches. It should not be thrown carelessly into the box or on the bench. Never carry goggles in, loose pockets. Now, provisions of comfortable safety shoes. A good fitting will not cramp or calf the feet on the job. Now, keep shoes dry as much possible and please clean them. Okay. Now, do not allow shoes to get deteriorated beyond repairable condition. Whether the repair is undertaken by the employee or the employer, replace the worn out sole before it gets further damaged, or either replace the shoes. Now, for protection against acid, plastic, solvent, and similar material, fabrics impregnated or coated with the plastic are used for garments. So you have to make sure that there are no cracks, it doesn't go in, so splash safety is proper, and all this should be taken care. Now use soapy water to clean chemical resistant clothing and gloves. Now protective rubber equipments for excessive heat and mechanical damage are used. So that part you have to always make sure that whether it is punctured or not, and if it is punctured, please replace it. Now, the requirement of PPE to ensure the greatest possible protection for employees in workplace. The cooperative efforts of both employers will help in establishing and maintaining a safe and healthful work environment. In general, employers are responsible for performing a hazard assessment of workplace to identify the control of physical health hazard that are to be done, identify providing appropriate PPs to them, giving them proper training, maintaining PPs, including replacing the worn out PPs, and periodically reviewing and updating the evaluation plan with the effective PPE program. Now in general, employee should always wear proper PPs, attend training sessions, and care and clean and maintain the PPE so provided to individual, and inform the supervisors if needed to repair or replace the PPEs. Now always wear PPE according to the signages mentioned in the work area. This is very important. We usually see that the area is different and the PPE symbol is different. So you must make sure that the information is being visually impacted correctly. Correct? So this all completes our session on PPEs, and today's session, as we discussed, was on care and maintenance of effective use of PPE. So hope I was able to contribute as much to the point till then. Yes, so safety short series, as we have discussed, is a series focusing on short safety videos, and I'll keep posting more such. Do not forget to hit the like button and keep sharing, keep liking. We'll keep posting more such videos. Till then, stay connected and stay safe. Thank you, friends.